So that was anticlimactic. I'm not going to lie. The presidential election is set. The primaries are over. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party both have their presumptive nominees, and it's who we thought it was going to be. It's Biden and Trump, and for the first time since 1956, we have a rematch of the previous presidential election, and for the first time since 1892, we have a president running against the president he replaced. And for the first time since 1912, that a former president is running to recapture the office. So this is a unique election. We don't get these type of elections often. Um, you know, on the Democratic side, Joe Biden has had no problem winning his contest. He's getting 85 to 90% of the vote in most Democratic primaries. In some places, 95%. I mean, it's huge margins. Trump is winning Republican primaries contests by considerable margins. He's only lost two contests: the Washington D.C. primary and the Vermont primary, and he's winning by winning 60%, 70% of the vote, 80 in some places. So his margins, while large, are less impressive. And one thing that is going to really get interesting as we get further into this process is on the Republican side, Trump's legal problems don't seem to be a hindrance. They don't seem to be phasing him. In the general election, I think that's a different question. And I also think you have to contend with the fact it's March. Not a lot of people are paying attention to this. The people that are paying attention to this are the people watching this video, people like myself who follow this stuff religiously, and people who, are engaged. And we are not persuadable voters. We are either, like myself, a supporter of President Biden, or people who will probably rage comment on this video, supporters of former President Trump. And there's no persuading us. We are unpersuadable. The persuadable voter is the voter that will check in, sometime around Labor Day, maybe a little bit before, but around Labor Day, they will, they'll wax and wane between the two candidates. And, in 2016, they rolled the dice and they said, we're going to pick Trump. And they took a chance. In 2020, those voters came out and said, hell no, not another 4 years of this. And Trump doesn't have that built-in advantage this time of, well, I don't know what he'll be like. Maybe he'll grow into it. No, they know, and that's going to be a big dagger in Trump's armor, because Trump seems to think that one of his advantages is of reminding people what life was like under his presidency, and that's not a smart decision. Do you remember how his presidency ended? I certainly remember. He incited a mob to attack the Capitol. All right, let's go back a little further than that. Remember the year 2020? I'm recording this on March 13th. It was around this time that that it really began to sink in that you can't go anywhere, and you can't gather with people, and hundreds of thousands of your fellow Americans are going to die, and it's going to get really dangerous in the streets because crime is going to skyrocket because people are out of work and they're desperate, and it feels like the whole world's ending. That is the reality of what life was like in Donald Trump's presidency. There was also the times that we feared nuclear war because he got in a Twitter spat with a dictator who had nuclear weapons. And then started writing love letters to that said dictator. Yeah, that's... Oh, he also threatened to leave NATO a couple times. You know, the one global fighting force that since the end of since the end of World War II has prevented Russian aggression. That's the reality of Donald Trump's presidency. Now, not to say Joe Biden's presidency's been all peaches and creams, but I'll take the Joe Biden presidency over the Donald Trump presidency any day of the week. And a lot of the issues Biden has had were landmines set for him by the former president. Afghanistan, that pullout, is largely the fault of Donald Trump. Military officials in the waning days of the Trump presidency were petrified that Trump was about to give an immediate pullout order. Not just of Afghanistan, but entire swaths of the globe. Africa, Asia, and other places. The Joint Chiefs was scared that he was going to incite a war with China, a nuclear war with China. This election coming up is tremendously important. You've got a choice between sanity and a return to insanity. And I, for one, think that we should continue the success we've had under President Biden and Vice President Harris and not risk going back to the insanity of the Donald Trump years. So, we shall see.